Every minute you spend worrying about someone else's life is a minute of your own life wasted. Think about it. How often do you find yourself drained by thoughts of what others are doing, what they think of you, or events you can't control? You scroll through social media and feel envy or frustration. A rude comment from a stranger ruins your day. You lie awake anxious about problems that haven't even happened. We've all been there. Now imagine if you could take all that wasted worry and reclaim it, funneling that time and energy into something that actually makes you stronger and happier. This is exactly what Stoic philosophers taught centuries ago. They learned that the key to a calmer, more powerful life is simple. Focus on yourself and shift your energy inward. In this video, we're going to explore how the wisdom of Stoicism can help you do just that. By the end, you'll have practical Stoic insights from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, and more, to help you stop focusing on what drains you and start focusing on what you can control. Stick around, because these lessons might just change how you live each day. For centuries, Stoicism has taught the power of focusing on one's own mind amidst chaos. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius embodied this principle. Despite ruling an empire through war and plague, he turned inward, writing meditations as a private journal to strengthen his character each day. Stoic philosophy gave him the perspective to remain calm and virtuous under pressure, rather than becoming overwhelmed by the uncontrollable events around him. His example, and those of other Stoics, show that when you focus on yourself, your thoughts, actions, and values, you develop an inner strength that external chaos cannot shake. So how can you cultivate this Stoic focus in modern life? Let's break it down into 3 key parts. First, we'll look at the Stoic idea of what is in your control versus what isn't. Next, we'll explore letting go of the distractions of others' opinions and external worries, so you can free yourself from needless stress. Finally, we'll learn how to shift your energy to your own growth and actions with practical Stoic strategies to apply in daily life. Each section is grounded in Stoic wisdom, with powerful historical examples and tips to make these ideas actionable. Let's dive in. Part 1. Focus on what you can control. The Stoic key. One of the core teachings of Stoicism is often called the dichotomy of control. In simple terms, some things are in your control and other things are not. Epictetus, a Stoic philosopher who began life as a slave, opens his famous handbook, Enchiridion, with this very lesson. He writes, "Some things are in our control, while others are not. We control our opinion, choice, desire, aversion, in a word, everything of our own doing. We don't control our body, property, reputation, position, in a word, everything not of our own doing." Take a moment to let that sink in. Your own thoughts, judgments, and actions, these are up to you. But external circumstances, like what other people do or say or random events, are ultimately not up to you. Stoicism teaches that peace comes from focusing only on the first category, what you can control, and letting go of attachment to the second category, what you cannot control. As Epictetus bluntly put it, there is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. If you think about it, so much of our emotional turmoil comes from fighting reality, wishing we could change other people's behavior, dreading outcomes we can't prevent, resenting circumstances we didn't choose. The Stoics remind us that such worries are a waste of our energy. Why torment yourself over something that isn't truly in your hands? It's like trying to command the weather or stop the aging process. You have no actual power there. What you do have power over is how you respond to those things. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled as a wise emperor, echoed this idea in his own writings. He reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This one line captures the Stoic approach perfectly. Your mind, your attitudes, choices, and mindset is yours to direct. Outside events, the setbacks, the delays, the actions of others, these are not fully under your command. Realize this, and you will find strength. Why? Because the moment you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you liberate yourself from a huge burden. All that energy can be redirected to controlling the one thing you truly can: yourself. It's important to note that focusing on yourself in the Stoic sense is not selfish or isolating. It doesn't mean we stop caring about loved ones or social responsibilities. Marcus Aurelius, for example, cared deeply about his people and strove to do his duty justly. But he did so by first mastering his own thoughts and emotions, so that he could respond to others with wisdom and patience. Stoicism actually holds that being your best self enables you to be more helpful and compassionate in the world. You can't control others' welfare directly, but by being a model of virtue and level-headedness, you influence the world positively. So practically, what does this focus on what you can control look like? It starts in your own mind. Imagine you're stuck in a traffic jam. You can feel your anger rising at the delay. A non-Stoic approach is to curse, honk, stress out, essentially rail against the traffic as if sheer frustration could clear it. A Stoic approach is to pause and ask, is this under my control? The traffic isn't, but your reaction is. You could choose to use the time to listen to an educational podcast or simply practice patience. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You can't magically clear the road, but you can clear your mind. By focusing on controlling your temper and thoughts, you turn an external setback into an opportunity for internal growth. This applies to far more serious situations as well. Epictetus himself was reportedly crippled by a cruel master early in life. His leg was broken. Yet he famously remained calm, saying essentially, "I told you so," when it broke, indicating he had accepted what he couldn't change. While most of us, thankfully, won't face such extreme abuse, we will face illnesses, losses, and crises beyond our control. The Stoic teaching isn't to be emotionless, but to not waste energy in futile resistance or panic. Feel your feelings, yes, but then channel your effort toward what can be done. If you lose your job unexpectedly, you can't undo that fact, but you can control what you do next. Update your resume, reach out to contacts, maintain your composure. If someone betrays you, you cannot change their action, but you can decide how to handle the aftermath with dignity and wisdom. This mindset of focusing on your own controllables is empowering. It puts responsibility back in your hands where it belongs. No more blaming the universe or other people for your state of mind. You decide how to view any given situation, and in that decision lies your freedom. Epictetus said, "Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems." Often it's our imagination and interpretation that torture us more than reality itself. By focusing on the facts, what happened, and our next step, what we can do, rather than spinning out with what-ifs and it's so unfair, we conserve our energy for effective action. Let's recap this Stoic key. Identify what you control and what you don't. Remind yourself of it daily. Write it down if needed. What's up to me? My thoughts, choices, effort. What's not? Other people's opinions, outcomes, luck. This simple filter can bring immense clarity. It doesn't make challenges go away, but it changes your relationship to them. You move from a victim mindset, "I can't believe this is happening to me," to an agent mindset. "Okay, this happened. What can I do about it? Or how can I choose to view it?" That is the shift in focus that Stoicism offers, from externals to the internal locus of control, and it's the foundation for everything else. Once you accept this dichotomy, you're ready to stop pouring energy into the externals and start investing it where it counts. Part 2. Let go of external distractions, opinions, and comparisons. One of the biggest ways we leak our energy and focus is by fixating on other people, what they think of us, what they have compared to us, and what they do. We are social creatures, so it's natural to care to some extent. But the Stoics noticed that most of our concern for others' opinions is pointless and even harmful. In fact, worrying too much about how others perceive you is a surefire way to lose sight of your own path. As Marcus Aurelius observed, I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. 2,000 years ago, Marcus was amazed at this common human folly. We care more about what they say about us than what we say to ourselves. We love ourselves, in theory, but oddly, we esteem a stranger's view of us over our own character. Take a moment to reflect if that rings true in your life. Do you sometimes alter your behavior to avoid criticism or gain praise? Do you feel deflated when someone doesn't acknowledge your work, or anxious if you suspect someone dislikes you? It's okay to admit we all do at times, but the Stoics would gently shake us awake here. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, had to remind himself not to be enslaved by public opinion. He wrote, "How much time he gains who does not look to see what his neighbor says or does or thinks, but only at what he does himself, to make it just and holy." In other words, you will save so much time and peace by quitting the habit of constantly checking on others, comparing, gossiping, ruminating on their judgments, and instead focusing on making sure your own actions are right in the eyes of your higher self. Think of all the hours and emotional energy people spend on social media, for example, curating an image to impress others or scrolling through feeds envying others. What if even half of that time was spent improving oneself or enjoying one's own life? The Stoic message is clear. Focus on being a good person rather than on being liked. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one, Marcus writes, Meditations 10.16. The approval of onlookers is fickle and beyond your control, but your own virtue and integrity, that's entirely up to you. Seneca, another great Stoic, had plenty to say about chasing popularity and validation. He advised that it's madness to let applause or criticism determine your self-worth. How mad is he who leaves the lecture room in a happy frame of mind simply because of applause from the ignorant? Why do you take pleasure in being praised by men whom you yourself cannot praise? Seneca writes pointedly. This is a powerful reality check. If the people giving you approval are not themselves admirable to you, why put so much stock in their clapping or comments? And even if they are people you respect, a Stoic would still tell you not to become dependent on praise. Your goodness isn't defined by the number of likes you get. It's defined by whether you do the right thing when no one's watching. Worrying about others' opinions is not only futile, because opinions reside in their head, not yours. It's also a form of giving away your power. When you let someone's negative comment or snide look ruin your mood, you are effectively handing them the keys to your inner state. Epictetus put this brilliantly. Any person capable of angering you becomes your master. He can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed by him. Think about that. If a harsh word from a colleague or a bit of online trolling sends you into a tailspin, you have made that person your master in that moment. They puppet your emotions. The Stoics valued personal freedom above all, and freedom means not being emotionally controlled by external events or people. So, part of focusing on yourself is refusing to let others push your buttons. It's maintaining ownership of your emotions and responses. Does this mean we should never listen to feedback or completely ignore everyone? Not exactly. Stoicism isn't about becoming an insensitive rock. It's about discernment. Marcus Aurelius himself noted that humans are social animals. We live in communities and can learn from one another. The key is whose voices to value and in what way. If someone offers constructive criticism that highlights a real flaw or mistake you made, something grounded in fact, a Stoic would advise considering it calmly, because it can help you improve. But if someone's opinion is just that, a subjective opinion or a baseless judgment, then you leave it with them. Does someone's opinion make you a better or worse person? No, it doesn't. As one modern commentator summarizes the Stoic view, the Stoics focus on truth and virtue, not popularity. So if feedback aligns with truth and helps you be more virtuous, take it on board. If it's just noise, let it go. Your intrinsic value remains unchanged regardless of others' whims. Letting go of concern for others' approval can be incredibly liberating. Suddenly, you have room to breathe and be yourself. You start doing things because they are right or meaningful to you, not because you're trying to impress an imaginary audience. You dress in a way that makes you comfortable and confident, rather than anxiously following every trend. You pursue a career or hobby you love, even if others scoff, because you know if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Epictetus said. That sounds harsh, but it's a humorous way of saying, if you're always afraid of looking silly in others' eyes, you'll never grow. Have the courage to follow your own reasoning and values, even if some people don't get it. The irony is, people often end up respecting you more when you clearly respect yourself and don't pander for approval. Another area where focusing on others drains us is comparison and envy. It's hard to focus on your own progress if your eyes are always on your neighbor's plate. Seneca warned that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, and a lot of that imagined suffering today comes from believing everyone else has it better. But Stoicism teaches sympathia, a sense of common humanity, not competition. Each person has their own path and their own challenges, many of which you can't see from the outside. So comparing your life to someone else's is neither fair nor useful. Instead, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Are you a bit wiser, a bit calmer, a bit kinder? That's a comparison that matters. If you focus on being better than your past self, you're automatically focusing on yourself in a healthy way. You're not resentful of others. You're too busy improving your own life. When you catch yourself worrying about how you measure up or what gossip is swirling around, pause and return to your center. Marcus Aurelius would often remind himself in his journal to stay focused on what is truly your own concern and be mindful that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours. He also wrote, "If you are pained by any external thing, it is not this thing that disturbs you, but your judgment of it." This means it's our choice whether to let external things upset us. The Stoic approach is to mentally quarantine what is outside and keep your mind free to concentrate on what you can change, mainly your own thoughts and actions, coming back to the dichotomy of control. Let's visualize the benefit of letting go in a concrete way. Imagine your mind is a house. Every time you obsess over someone's opinion or some distant drama, you're inviting a crowd of strangers into your house. They trample around, make noise, and leave the place messy. No wonder you feel exhausted and stressed. Your mental house is never in order. Now imagine politely escorting all those strangers out and shutting the door. Suddenly it's quiet. You have space for yourself. You can decorate your interior life as you see fit. Maybe you put on some calming music, a positive thought or mantra. You tidy up a corner that was neglected, reflect on a personal goal you've been meaning to work on. The silence might feel strange at first if you're used to the noise of others' opinions, but soon it becomes peaceful. In that peace, you can actually hear your own inner voice, your reason, your principles, much more clearly. That voice, cultivated and guided by wisdom, is what Stoics trust, not the fickle chatter of the crowd. To summarize this section, stop giving attention to the things you can't control, especially the thoughts, words, and deeds of others. As one Stoic writer noted, when you quit worrying about what others think, you save yourself a lot of stress. You focus on how well you're doing in your personal growth. You stop worrying about what other people are doing with their lives. You focus on becoming the person you want to be. Doesn't that sound refreshing? It's as if by dropping the baggage of external validation, you suddenly find your hands free to carry what actually matters for your journey. You become the author of your own life rather than a character in someone else's drama. So the next time you find yourself ruminating, what will they think? Catch it and replace it with, what do I think? Am I living up to my values? Shift from seeking approval to seeking progress. If someone disapproves of you unjustly, shrug and say, as Epictetus suggested, they were ignorant of all my other faults, or they'd have mentioned those too. In short, don't take things personally that aren't personal. Your worth does not come from the outside. By focusing on yourself in this way, you'll find a new reservoir of freedom and confidence. Now, with this freedom, What do we do with it? That brings us to the final part, shifting your energy to where it truly counts, your own improvement and virtuous action. Part 3. Shift your energy inward. Cultivate inner strength and virtue. By now, we've emphasized letting go of what you can't control and not wasting energy on externals like opinions or comparisons. But nature abhors a vacuum. It's not enough to stop focusing on the wrong things. We also need to start focusing on the right things. Stoicism isn't just about abstaining from worry. It's about actively channeling your energy into becoming the best version of yourself. The ultimate Stoic goal is to live a life of virtue, excellence of character, because virtue is the one true good in life. In practical terms, that means consistently improving your wisdom, self-discipline, courage, and integrity. When you focus on these internal goals, you transform your energy into something incredibly productive, personal growth, and inner peace. Think of your attention and energy as a limited resource, like a budget. Every day you wake up with a certain amount to spend. If you spend it all on worrying, complaining, scrolling, and reacting to others, you have nothing left to invest in yourself. A Stoic allocates their mental budget wisely. They minimize the leaks, and then invest heavily in things that yield real returns: learning, virtuous action, health, meaningful work. The Stoics were actually very action-oriented people. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor who carried the weight of a huge empire. Seneca was an advisor and playwright deeply involved in political life. Epictetus ran a school and taught others. They didn't withdraw from life, they engaged with it fully. But they engaged mindfully, always checking that their efforts aligned with their principles and focusing on what was worth their time. So, how do we shift our energy inward and upward? Here are some Stoic strategies and practices to help you focus on yourself in a healthy, productive way. 1. Daily reflection, journaling. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is essentially his private journal. He wrote to himself as a form of practice. Try setting aside a few minutes in the morning or evening to reflect in writing. In the morning, you might jot down, "What's my priority today? What virtues do I want to exercise? What challenges might I face, and how can I respond stoically?" In the evening, review, "What did I do well? What could I improve? Did I lose my temper or waste energy on something trivial? How can I refocus for tomorrow?" Seneca advised, "Each night before bed we should examine our day and our actions, praising ourselves for good deeds and critiquing the missteps in a constructive way." This habit builds self-awareness. It forces you to focus on your own behavior and mindset regularly, which is exactly focusing on yourself in the Stoic sense. You start to catch patterns. Maybe you realize, "I always get anxious after reading certain news. Perhaps I should limit that." Or, "I felt really content on days I took a walk at lunch. I should do that more." Reflection turns experience into wisdom. 2. Practice the dichotomy of control. Throughout your day, deliberately practice noticing what's in your control and what isn't. Make it a mental game. For example, if you're in a meeting at work and someone is being difficult, silently remind yourself, "Their attitude is out of my control. My response is in my control." If you send a text to a friend and they take long to respond, instead of getting anxious, tell yourself, "I can't control their response time or mood. I can control not jumping to conclusions and being patient." This will feel a bit repetitive at first, but over time it becomes second nature. You'll find that you start automatically letting go of the uncontrollable and focusing on the controllable. The result? Far less stress and far more effective action. A modern Stoic teacher, William Irvine, suggests even adding a third category: things you have some control over. Focus most on what you completely control, some on what you partially control, and accept what you have zero control over. In any case, the point is to be intentional about where you direct your attention. When you catch yourself obsessing over an external, say, an upcoming outcome or someone's behavior, use it as a cue to shift your energy to an internal, like your preparation for that outcome or simply managing your own anxiety about it. 3. Mindfulness of thoughts and emotions. Stoics were essentially practicing a form of mindfulness long before it became popular. They paid attention to their impressions and questioned them. Is this really true? Is this within my power? Am I interpreting this event rationally? You can do the same. Let's say you suddenly feel jealous because a colleague got praise and you didn't. Rather than either stewing in it or suppressing it, a Stoic approach would be, acknowledge the feeling, then analyze it. Why am I feeling this? Did I do something worthy of praise that was overlooked, or am I just comparing unfairly? Is this jealousy helping me, or could I turn it into motivation to improve myself? By examining your own thoughts, you're focusing on your internal state, almost like a scientist observing a lab experiment. And you are the experiment. This creates a slight distance between you and your reactions, which gives you control. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about seeing things as they are, without the added drama our mind tends to add. Practice describing situations to yourself without emotional language, just the facts, and you may find the intensity of the emotion lowers, making it easier to redirect your energy to a solution or a healthier perspective. 4. Set internal goals. In our goal-obsessed culture, we usually set a lot of external goals: get that promotion, lose weight to hit a number, earn more money, etc. Stoics would instead encourage setting internal or virtue-based goals. For example, a Stoic goal might be, I want to respond with patience and grace in all interactions today, or I want to spend an hour learning something new to become wiser, or I will stick to my exercise routine to build discipline and health. Notice these goals are about improving yourself, not about outperforming others or gaining something external, though external success often follows as a byproduct. By focusing on virtue and personal excellence, you align with what Stoics call living according to nature, meaning according to your rational best self. An amazing thing happens when you pursue internal goals. You remain in control and resilient. If your goal is to act with integrity, nothing can prevent you from achieving it except your own choices. In contrast, if your goal is to get a promotion, lots of external factors could interfere. Stoic goals place success firmly in your own efforts. So set a goal to be more kind, more courageous, more tranquil, more truthful. Any virtue you value. Measure your progress by your own standards, not by comparing with someone else. Each day that you live up to your principles is a win. 3. Mindfulness of thoughts and emotions. Stoics were essentially practicing a form of mindfulness long before it became popular. They paid attention to their impressions and questioned them. Is this really true? Is this within my power? Am I interpreting this event rationally? You can do the same. Let's say you suddenly feel jealous because a colleague got praise and you didn't. Rather than either stewing in it or suppressing it, a Stoic approach would be, acknowledge the feeling, then analyze it. Why am I feeling this? Did I do something worthy of praise that was overlooked, or am I just comparing unfairly? Is this jealousy helping me, or could I turn it into motivation to improve myself? By examining your own thoughts, you're focusing on your internal state, almost like a scientist observing a lab experiment. And you are the experiment. This creates a slight distance between you and your reactions, which gives you control. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about seeing things as they are, without the added drama our mind tends to add. Practice describing situations to yourself without emotional language, just the facts, and you may find the intensity of the emotion lowers, making it easier to redirect your energy to a solution or a healthier perspective. 4. Set internal goals. In our goal-obsessed culture, we usually set a lot of external goals: get that promotion, lose weight to hit a number, earn more money, etc. Stoics would instead encourage setting internal or virtue-based goals. For example, a Stoic goal might be, I want to respond with patience and grace in all interactions today, or I want to spend an hour learning something new to become wiser, or I will stick to my exercise routine to build discipline and health. Notice these goals are about improving yourself, not about outperforming others or gaining something external, though external success often follows as a byproduct. By focusing on virtue and personal excellence, you align with what Stoics call living according to nature, meaning according to your rational best self. An amazing thing happens when you pursue internal goals. You remain in control and resilient. If your goal is to act with integrity, nothing can prevent you from achieving it except your own choices. In contrast, if your goal is to get a promotion, lots of external factors could interfere. Stoic goals place success firmly in your own efforts. So set a goal to be more kind, more courageous, more tranquil, more truthful. Any virtue you value. Measure your progress by your own standards, not by comparing with someone else. Each day that you live up to your principles is a win. Become the master of your focus. Life is too short to spend it chasing externals and fighting battles that aren't yours to fight. The Stoics knew that real power comes from within. When you focus on yourself and shift your energy to what you can control, you reclaim your power from every outside circumstance and person that used to hold sway over you. You become, as the Stoic philosopher King Marcus Aurelius would say, self-contained and serene, doing the right thing, whatever anyone else is doing or saying. You start living by your own light, guided by timeless principles of virtue and wisdom, rather than by the flickering neon of public opinion or external success. Imagine moving through your day with a calm sense of purpose, not reacting wildly to every piece of news or criticism, not comparing yourself to any other soul, but simply doing your work, taking care of your responsibilities, and savoring the small joys, all with the knowledge that you are in control of your own mindset. Challenges arise and you meet them with a steady gaze, asking, "What's in my control here?" and proceeding accordingly. You measure your progress by how you've improved yourself or helped others, not by arbitrary status markers. This is not a fantasy. This is achievable with practice, and it's exactly what Stoicism offers. Let's quickly recap the journey we've taken. Focus on what you can control. Recognize the clear line between your own actions, thoughts, and everything else. By placing your attention on your own sphere, you find strength and peace. You stop wasting effort on the unchangeable and put it where it counts, your decisions and attitudes. Let go of external validation and comparisons. Free yourself from the prison of others' opinions. As we discussed, their thoughts do not determine your worth. By ignoring the noise and keeping your eyes on your own character, you save time and stress. You reclaim power over your emotions and become more confident in your own values. Shift your energy inward to improve yourself. Use that freed-up energy to build your virtues, skills, and well-being. Make your life a continuous project of personal growth and service. You channel your efforts into becoming wiser, more patient, more courageous, more just, day by day. Every obstacle is training, every day is an opportunity to get better. You focus on being good, not just looking good or feeling good momentarily. In doing these, you'll find, as Stoics for millennia have found, a profound increase in inner peace and resilience. Stress and anxiety will diminish, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You'll face the same world as before, but with a shield and sword forged in your own soul, the shield of understanding what's truly yours to handle, and the sword of disciplined focus to cut through distractions. Now, as we wrap up, I encourage you to take action. Philosophy is meant to be lived. So start today. Identify one area where you've been focusing externally, maybe worrying about someone's opinion at work or fretting about an outcome months away, and consciously let it go. Decide not to feed that worry. Then choose one positive practice for yourself, perhaps one of the steps we listed like journaling tonight or setting a virtue goal for tomorrow, and commit to it. These small steps create momentum. Over time, you'll notice the difference. If you found value in these Stoic insights and you're excited to apply them, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more content on philosophy and personal growth. Join our community of fellow Stoic learners. We're all working on focusing on what truly matters. Give this video a thumbs up if it resonated with you, and share in the comments one Stoic practice you want to try or a principle that spoke to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and support you in the journey. Remember, Stoicism is not about being perfect. It's about progress and practice. So be patient with yourself as you shift your focus inward. Every time you catch yourself and realign, you're getting a little bit stronger and a little more free. Thanks for watching till the end. That already shows your dedication to your growth. For more on Stoicism, check out our other videos, like our discussion on overcoming anxiety with Seneca's advice, or our breakdown of Marcus Aurelius's top lessons for modern life. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss future uploads that will help you keep the Stoic flame burning bright. Now, as you click away from this video and back into the world, carry this Stoic reminder with you. Focus on yourself, control what you can, and let the rest go. In doing so, you will truly shift your energy toward a life of purpose, virtue, and inner peace. Stay strong, stay stoic, and see you in the next video.